Hi everyone, my name is Lacey and I'm here today to talk to you guys a little bit about JQuery methods. Now, JQuery methods allow you to extend JavaScript's capabilities and allow you to modify HTML elements' properties, appearance, and much more. So with JQuery methods, you can actually change an element's background color, you can make the element fade in or fade out, or you can even animate it on bounce. So there's a lot of different things you can do with these methods, so we're going to go ahead and cover some of the code that you guys can use today to actually get a little bit of practice with these. Now, to actually use a JavaScript method is pretty easy. There's just 3 steps that you use. So the first step that we have highlighted over here is to select an element with the jQuery selector. So you go ahead and start with your $sign, you open your parentheses, and within quotes you say the name of the selector that you'd like to use. Now there's a lot of different ways of selecting HTML elements with jQuery. You can select them by their ID, by their class name, by their tag name. If they have the name attribute, you can call them by their name as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can select your element. So once you decide how you want to select your element, the next step is to actually add the method. The way you add the method is by putting in a period and then saying the name of the method that you want to use. So super easy. So after you select your element, you add in the name of the method that you'd like to use. The next step is to actually specify the desired change that you want to apply with arguments. Now what I mean by that is there's a lot of different methods you can apply. And these methods actually take in arguments that allow you to specify exactly how you want these HTML elements to change. So for example, the CSS method will allow you to change properties and values. So it'll accept those 2 arguments. But you also have other methods like animate or toggle that can take speeds or anything of the sort as well. So these arguments that you'll be passing in will actually change based on the method name that you decide to choose. Some methods don't even take in arguments as well. So we're actually going to get to play around with some practice and see exactly how that works in our examples today. So for today's assignment, we actually have 5 problem steps that we're going to try to tackle to get you guys a little bit more comfortable with jQuery methods. Now for those of you that haven't used methods before, it's okay. I actually went ahead and linked you to the API reference for these methods so you guys can get a little bit more comfortable with the listing and seeing exactly what you can use within the JavaScript framework. Now we want to make sure that jQuery 3.2.1 is loaded first and foremost. That's going to be our first problem. Now today we're working in JSFiddle, and by default JSFiddle does not load jQuery. You actually have to manually add it in yourself. So that's what we're going to do first. And if you realize over on the left-hand JavaScript panel, there's a nice little gear icon here. We're going to click on that. And there's a section for language where we see JavaScript as the default language, which is great. But below that there's a section for frameworks and extensions. And right now it's set to no library. What we want to do is change that and search for jQuery. Here we go. And there's a lot of different versions. The one we want to use today is the most recent version, 3.2.1. There are a few deprecated methods that you will find in the earlier versions that aren't available in the newer versions. So because of that, I do want to use 3.2.1. So we're going to go ahead and click on that and click on the little gear icon again. Ta-da, we have jQuery loaded. So that was step 1. That wasn't too hard. So now that jQuery is loaded, the next step, problem 2, that we have available here, is asking us to use a method to change the background color of the div with the class prob2. So problem 2 over here has a white div with text inside it that says make me red. So it looks like we should probably make it red. So we're going to head over to the left-hand side here in the JavaScript under our notes that says problem 2. And what we're going to do is see if we can first and foremost select that div, right? That's the first step. If I scroll up here, first step is to select an HTML element with a jQuery selector. So under problem 2, I'm going to start with my $sign. I'm going to open my parentheses. And it looks like I'm looking for the div with the class prob2. So I'm going to put my .prob2. I'm going to make sure that that's enclosed inside of quotes. Awesome. All right. So once I have that, the next thing I have to do is say dot and the name of the method I want to apply. Now the method that actually allows me to access CSS attributes is the CSS method. Go figure. So we're going to say prob2.css, and then we're going to pass in a few arguments that tell us exactly how we want to modify the CSS. So the first one we want to do is set the property, which is background. This is what we're looking to change, the background. We're going to put a comma and then a space, and then we're going to change it to red. That's what the problem told us to do, right? Change the background color from white to red. Now, if we run this, hopefully, fingers crossed it works. Let's go ahead and try. Ta-da! Problem 2, our div is now red. So we went ahead and used our first method, and it wasn't that hard at all. So, you guys ready for problem 3? So problem 3 is asking us to hide the div with the class prob3. So first things first, I have to use my selector. So I'm going to put my $, open parentheses here, and within quotes, I'm going to say .prob3. Awesome. The next, I need to select the specific method that's going to allow me to hide the class. Now jQuery is pretty intuitive, so I'm going to try just hide and see if it works, and it does. I know it does. Now the hide method is one of those methods that actually does not take in any parameters at all. So what we're going to do is just keep those parentheses blank and close with a semicolon, right? Because it's either you hide it or you don't. There isn't really any option to that. So if I run this, the little div section that I have here under problem 3 should go away. So I'm going to click my run button, and if I scroll down, the problem 3 div is gone. That's awesome. All right, so now we have problem 4. Problem 4 is asking us to hide the div with the class problem 4, but there's a little caveat over here. It says hide me, but show me again. So I want to do the same thing that I did in the last problem in problem 3, but I just want to make sure that I bring it back. So what I'm going to do is see if instead I can just hide the paragraph that we have over here and just make the div clickable. So when I click on the div, it hides my paragraph. When I click on the div, it shows my paragraph again, right? So I'm going to hide it and show it again. So in problem 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that problem 4 div. And this time, in order for me to actually say that I want to click on this div instead of attaching the method right away, I need to make sure to go ahead and say .click, right? And open and close my parentheses and semicolon. But inside of there, I need to say what I want to happen when I actually click. What I want to happen when I click is I want a function to run that allows me to hide and show just as I did before. So I'm going to type inside of there function, open and close parentheses, open and close curly braces. And what I'm going to try in here is to see if I can run that method to hide and show the paragraph. So what I'm going to do is say, first and foremost, I have to select the paragraph. So I'm going to select, make sure I use my parentheses here, first and foremost, and quotes, here we go. So I'm going to select that prob4, the paragraph inside of there, so I'm going to put a space P for the paragraph inside of problem 4. And what I want to do is try to hide it, right, just like I did earlier. Now here's the thing, I don't want to hide it and have it be gone forever. I want it to be able to bring it back. So instead of using the hide method, I'm actually going to switch that out to another one that we call slide toggle. Oh, not tiggle, toggle. So slide toggle will actually allow me to click and show it and hide it. Now slide toggle will actually allow you to say exactly how fast or how slow you want that toggle to happen. And we're going to say fast. You can also try slow and see how that works for you. And let's see how this runs. So I'm going to go ahead and click run. I'm going to scroll down. And when I click in prob 4, my paragraph goes away. When I click on it again, it comes right back, right? So I can hide it and show it pretty easily by using .click over here, running a function inside of there, and using slide toggle instead of hide. So right now we're starting to compound these things, adding functions and adding multiple methods. So this is pretty cool, right? So you can have a method that takes in 2 properties, or I'm sorry, not 2 properties. If we go back over here, 2 arguments. You can also have one that accepts no arguments. You can have one that accepts just one, like in fast. And you can also start chaining these, right? So you can say, when you click on the div, and then you can toggle the paragraph inside of that. So this is pretty cool. Now, problem 5, we're going to learn how to duplicate the paragraph inside of this div, right? So we have a single only paragraph here that says duplicate me. So in problem 5, we're going to go ahead and start by selecting that paragraph. So we're going to put our $, and within quotes, we're going to select, looks like this is the class prop 5. So we're going to say dot prop 5 dot. Now there is a really cool method that we use to duplicate. It's called clone. We just say dot clone, open and close parentheses. Now the problem with clone is that it does duplicate, it makes a copy, but where does it go? You actually have to be a little bit more specific and specify where you want it to go. So what I'm going to do is say dot append to, so I can send it somewhere, right? So dot append to, and where do I want it to be added? Back inside of the same prop 5 div. So I'm going to say dot prop 5. Awesome. So now if I run this and I scroll down, looks like I have duplicate me, but I did something wrong. Now all I wanted to duplicate was the paragraph, and I actually got the paragraph and the div. I'm going to have to go back and fix this. Looks like I made the wrong selector. So if I scroll over here to where I have dot prop 5, this should have been the paragraph, dot prop 5p. Now if I run this again and scroll down to the bottom, much better, right? I have both of my paragraphs here duplicated. Well, one duplication for 2 paragraphs all set within the one div. So this is pretty neat. You're able to make modifications on the fly pretty easily. And you're able to learn a little bit more about methods, hopefully. I think you guys were able to learn a little bit about the basics of setting up the method at least, right? So selecting an element with the jQuery selectors, attaching the method name, and then passing arguments if the method will actually allow you to pass them, and being able to modify those as you please. Cool. So that was pretty much it for using JavaScript methods. I hope you guys were able to learn something new today and take something away from this really short lecture, and hopefully you guys are able to use these in the future. Alright, so thanks for watching and good luck with your JavaScript or jQuery methods, guys. Bye, have a good night.